a troublemaker. I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Pop and lock and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop. It's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger.
I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Denver, Connecticut, on this windy, blustery, chilly flurries.
Yeah, it was flurrying.
What flurries?
A lot when we came in. It was starting to flurry a little.
February 27th. We really kind of missed this whole month with the movie show. You know, Super Bowl was the beginning of the month, and then we were off last week.
Well, it's leap year, so we have the 29 days this month.
That's true, we do. We get the extra day. But we are here to finish off the month, back live, back ready to talk sports after we did that little movie show with the former Evil director Kevin Gallagher. That was fun. And we are live, so 203-792-4101. We'll see. Strange Man's been texting a little bit, but haven't heard from him on the line lately, so we don't know. Maybe he'll start chiming in again. But anybody else can call, 203-792-4101. He's not the only one who's allowed to call.
Right.
All you viewers out there.
Please
and
call.
Of course, we're also live on Facebook. If you're following us that way, we got the in-studio iPad back so I can get to see if there's any comments or anything. See if I get distracted by that. But let's officially say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Broad Jr.
Hi, Scott.
How you doing over there, Bob?
I'm doing well. It was busy over the weekend, though.
Yeah?
Yeah, we had several brush fires.
Oh, is it that time of year? Well, it's with the wind.
We had a dry.
I saw Bethel had a brush fire, right?
It's that dry. We just had that dry period
Well, February
of time.
Rainfall in February was down actually.
Yeah.
And snowfall was way down.
We haven't had any snow. Mm-hmm. It's all the snow seems to be.
And then the heavy winds
up
dried
toward
things
the,
out.
Lake Erie and upstate New York.
Right. And south.
It's out.
They're getting snow down
getting
south.
hammered.
Right. So interesting.
But,
Bob's show, Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. You can check out what he's got going on there. And of course, anything big and local. We're waiting on the news on the West News breakfast.
Only thing I can say is it's somebody very special, and it's a Hall of Famer.
Not official yet.
We're not official yet.
So we'll tease it only that way.
Yes.
But we can't say who. Let's say hello to Mike, the Met Jet Maniac fanatic over there. How you doing there, Mike?
Okay there, Scott.
Staying warm out there in this wind?
I wish.
How's the city on these windy days? The wind just blowing through the
Today was
effect.
very windy.
Very windy. It's supposed to be like this like 8, 9 o'clock tonight.
Wow.
Well, thankfully the wind will die down. It's going to be cooler this weekend.
Yeah.
But still reasonable.
And next week we're supposed to have another warming trend. It's supposed to be back in the 50s again.
Yeah,
Rain,
I saw that. Monday, I was outside doing work all day outside.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It was beautiful.
It was 65 degrees. It was
crazy.
So
we've missed a lot. Let's just touch on a couple things. The one thing we missed from a couple weekends ago, we haven't done much racing in recent months,
Right.
really since Daytona last year, probably. But let's just mention that. Daytona 500, the big crash, of course, was the big story coming out of that wild finish. I mean, for the crash to take place so close to the line.
Basically, Blaney was trying to push Newman all the way to the front, and then him and Hamlin, the three of them were battling for the lead.
Right.
So what happened is he just got loose and
he went up.
And
Ryan
over.
Newman, wild crash, scary scene.
And of course, like I said before, we were talking before the show, Corey LaJoie, he had no place to go. All he saw was smoke in front of him. He did not see Newman upside down on top of him.
No, yeah, so it was a big mess. But thankfully he, survived and actually left the hospital 2 days later.
He walked out of the hospital.
Right.
You know.
Danny Hamlin was the recipient of the victory. So Ryan Newman crashes there and goes across the line, finishes ninth, and his car went across the line. And here we see the last week, wanted to mention just Joey Logano, who finished 26th at Daytona. And he didn't really have a great year last year after winning the championship the year before, our Connecticut driver. That's why we pay attention to him. But he won in Vegas last week. So we see that right there. So just wanted to mention the 500. You know, it is a spectacle. It is one of the big sporting events of the year. And I was thrown off by it because it was the rain on Sunday.
Right.
The hype leading up to it either. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was the week after. I didn't know. I totally missed the boat on it. And then if they ran the majority of the race on Monday.
Right.
So it was a little different this year.
And they were talking about rain Monday too. And then what would have happened is they really would have been backed up so much, you know, because then they had to go to Vegas, which would really, you know, you're traveling 1,000 miles across.
Yeah. And then, so the big event also this weekend, boxing. We haven't done any boxing in a while, but Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 2, the rematch. And there we see the Gypsy King. Fury, now, if you remember, Bob, you pay attention to what I say on this show, right?
Yes, I do.
Mike, maybe you were around when I started first talking about Fury. You've been on the show for a while now. 2, 3 years? Are we pushing with you? 2 years?
I think
More.
But remember, Fury caught my eye a few years ago with when he beat Vladimir Klitschko, when he ended the Klitschko reign finally. And I said, just looking at him, he was a maniac and a monster, just a huge dude. And at that time, he was even more maniacal because he was battling alcohol and drug use and depression, and he was really quite psychotic. And then, which led to him taking 2 years. You know, he had the title stripped from him, and he had to bow out of boxing for 2 years. But he's cleaned up his act, and he's got back in the ring. He had the draw with Wilder in the first match, and then he comes back here and he takes him out to grab the WBC heavyweight crown, knocking out Wilder in the 7th. Well, TKO, because they threw in the towel. He knocked him out in the 3rd. Knocked him down again in the 7th, and his corner threw in the towel. So that's it. Wilder, notorious for being a knockout king, 42-1-1 now, 41 knockouts he's got, and they say he's got one of the most damaging right hands of any boxer heavyweight in history, really. And Fury, for his size, is known more as a tactician and a defensive fighter. But he said going into the fight, I am going to attack him. I'm going to be on the offensive. Most guys don't want to get in too close with Wilder because they're afraid that he's going to just get that 1 split second to knock you out. And he said, no, I'm coming at him. I'm going to stay in tight, and I'm going to be aggressive. And that's exactly what he did.
How long did the fight last?
7 rounds. So he got him in the 7th and got him out of there. So he becomes a champion. So how about the talk? I don't know if you guys have seen the discussions about the pre-fight, you know, the walk-up, basically.
Yeah.
Remember the good old days when Tyson used to come out with just the hole cut in a white towel over his head? Look at this get-up by Wilder.
I know. I mean, that would wear you out just wearing that.
Which 24 hours later is exactly what he said. He said, you know, this outfit was too heavy. We had to put it on. I had it on 10, 15 minutes before the walkout. Then we did the walkout. And he said, as soon as I took the headgear off, I knew I was done. My legs were shot before the fight even started.
Well,
Are you buying that?
That stuff is heavy, all that stuff he had on. I mean,
extremely heavy.
He must have been soaked in sweat just
Who did he let talk him into wearing that then?
But why would you wear that? Wouldn't you have tried that on maybe a week before the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to figure with the heat and everything.
Of course.
That would just wear you out from being exhausted just from that.
You know, how about the dress rehearsal?
Right. Thank you.
For plays, they do a dress rehearsal. How about a dress rehearsal for the fight? Let me see if I can actually function with this outfit on. And meanwhile, and then you see Fury coming in. He's being carried on a throne.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to walk in. And he takes him out. So we'll see if there's going to be a rematch, a third fight. I think Wilder has that option, so most people are thinking there will be.
If there's a third fight, I don't think he'll be wearing the same.
No. Maybe he'll take Tyson's advice and just come out with the towel over his head. Ridiculous. So we did want to mention that. It was a big fight in Vegas, and the Gypsy King is the man. Anthony Joshua was out there. They wanted to set that fight up too, but we might have one more with Wilder before we get to that. But good to see heavyweight. I mean, really, the heavyweight division got quiet for so long because the Russian brothers held it for like 17 years. And they go all the way back to Lennox Lewis, who was the last time it was really interesting in the heavyweight boxing. And Lewis was connected to Tyson. He fought Tyson. He was coming into his own at the tail end of Tyson in Holyfield. So there was still obviously major interest at that point. And I remember seeing Lewis fight one of the Klitschko's, and that first fight was stopped. I don't know if you saw, any of you guys saw that. Remember that cut?
Oh, yes. The cut,
Mike sees, he's pointing to his head. It was like a filet mignon.
Yeah.
Just sliced wide open.
Oh, yeah.
Nasty fight. Watched that one at a bar in Buckhead, Atlanta. That was a good time. All right, let's get to some college basketball. We've missed out on a lot of what's going on. So UConn, I will give UConn credit. I mean, they're still going to have to win their conference tournament to make the big dance, but they really are a pretty game bunch, I would say, at this point. I think the fans right now are pretty pleased with what they've seen from UConn. All those close losses finally started to turn in their direction, and they started winning some of those.
Yeah, because the first half they started out with.
You felt like if they could just maybe pull out a victory in one of these close wins, they could turn it around. So they've won 2 in a row here. They did lose a double OT game to Temple before that, which was disappointing, but they had beaten Cincinnati. They beat SMU. They beat Tulsa. They won some big games. They beat Memphis. So they have played better. They are still 7-8, which has them at 7th in the AAC. 16-12 overall. 1-7 on the road in conference, though.
That's not good at all.
They're at East Carolina, home for Houston, which Houston is the only top 25 team, and they're ranked 25th out of the AAC right now. They are 11-4, 21-7, and then at Tulane. Tulane's 4-12. East Carolina 5-11 in conference. So at least 2 of those games, and if they could beat Houston, that would really help them. They did lose one of their big players to injury. Disappointing. Cook, the foreign player, big guy. How rare is it to see a 19-year-old pull up with a torn Achilles in a basketball game?
That's very rare.
Don't see that often, and he did that in one of their games recently. I think it was the Memphis game that they won, 64-61. I think that went overtime as well. So they are 6-3 in their last 9. So at least, and they played well. The kid Book Knight, the freshman, very good player. And, so they got some other good young players. And Vitali, unfortunately for him, he's a senior. So if they can't get into the big dance, he's at least grooming some of these guys, but he's played extremely well also. So they have played well. My Colorado State team, amazingly, I can't believe they've fallen to 6th. They were 2nd in the Mountain West. There's a whole bunch of teams bunched up together. But they find themselves at 10-7 and 19-11 overall. They were at San Diego
really
State.
Good for.
Yeah, 19-11. You can't beat that. I mean, well, you could, but that's pretty good. They went to San Diego State, which had been knocked up. They were the last undefeated team before this matchup with Colorado State, but they lost to UNLV, who had pounded Colorado State right before that. So San Diego State was coming off their first loss of the year. They went to San Diego State and they lost 66-60, a game that they led by 10 with 8 minutes left. San Diego State has a top defensive team in the country. That's why the low scores there. But But, CSU is going to have to do the same thing as UConn. They're going to have to win their conference tournament to make the big dance. They have one game left home versus Air Force opposed to UConn, who has 3. We're going to get to the scores of the week in a minute, so if Tyler wants to start coming in, get him set. Tyler is here, so he's going to do it. But number 1 is Kansas after they beat Baylor. Number 2 is Baylor. Number 3 is Gonzaga. Number 4 is Dayton. Number 5, San Diego State. Number 6, Florida State. Number 7, Duke. Number 8, Kentucky. Number 9, Maryland. And number 10, Creighton. And as I mentioned, Houston is the only AAC team. Tyler, you about ready?
Is Tyler all set for the show?
We need a microphone. How about that? Yeah, that would help. Here you go, Tyler. Good thing he's paying attention. Kansas moved to number 1. Baylor had been winning all these tight games in the Big 12, but they finally lost one.
So you look okay, Dave?
And then, so we'll see how it shakes out. There's only a week left before the conference tournament. Some of them are going to start playing conference tournaments this week, I would think, right?
Yeah.
Big East-wise, Villanova seems to have risen to the top there. Seton Hall, right, is still doing well. St. John's and Georgetown, not so great, but Butler and those teams doing okay. All right, we set with Tyler with the scores of the week?
I think so. I think Mike is on. I think I'm ready.
All right, let's go.
So without further ado, here's Sports Buzz scores of the week. College basketball, we have number 1 Kansas as a down, number 2 Baylor 64-61. And then we also have number 17 BYU beats number 3 Gonzaga 91-78. UNLV also runs by number 5 San Diego State 66-63. We also have number 23 Ohio State taking out number 9 Maryland 79-72. Number 6 FSU also clips number 11 Louisville 82-67. So that was a nice win by FSU. Wake Forest also knocks down number 7 Duke in double OT 113-101. NBA action, we have the Hornets as they sting by the Knicks 107-101. The Wiz shoot out the Nets 110-106. Cavs shoulder pass the 76ers 108-94. Rockets also make Grizzlies feel small 140-112. Lakers celebrate Fat Tuesday with 118 victory, 118-109 win over the Pelicans. Bucks go north of Toronto 108-197. Lastly, we have Celtics as they sing past the Jazz 114-103. On the ice, we have the Bruins as they have a hot streak, as their hot streak turns cold with a 5-2 loss to the Flames and 9-3 meltdown in Vancouver. Rangers keep the Islanders down with a 4-3 overtime win. Capitals also cool off the Penguins 5-3. On the pitch, we have Manchester City as they stun Real Madrid 2-1. Lastly, we have Atletico Madrid shocks Liverpool 1-0. And that wraps it up for the scores of the week. Thank you for having me.
All right,
thank you.
It's awesome.
Great job. Good to see you back.
Yep.
And good to get those scores. Yeah, so Soccer Champions League is back underway. We'll talk a little NBA and NHL to finish, but just wanted to mention that the round of 16 has begun. Leg 1 is complete. There was some good action there. As he mentioned, with Real Madrid losing, they blew a 1-0 lead to Manchester City at home. And Atletico Madrid knocked off the defending champion Liverpool in the leg 1-0. Liverpool is like cruising, unprecedented the lead they have in atop the division of the Premier League. So their last year plus has been as outstanding as it gets. And but they did get knocked off on that first leg. Of course, they can come back and win it in the second leg.
Who's the favorite?
Well, Liverpool, I would think, is the favorite because they're the defending champs and they've been just steamrolling. They haven't lost a game. That was their first loss in like a year. They had either tied or won everything in the Premier League. They don't have any losses in the Premier League, so I think they are still the favorite. I think you got to watch out for Bayern Munich. They've done a great job resetting. They've got some young players. They kept a couple of their older guys, and they knocked out Chelsea 3-0. No Pulisic, the American wonder kid, was not playing in that game. I'm not sure what his injury status is, but Bayern looks really good. Remember, they crushed Tottenham 6-1 or 6-2 in the group stage as well. So Bayern looks very sharp right now. Barcelona had to hold on or come back actually for a 1-1 draw against Napoli. Lyon beat Juventus 1-0. Dortmund, Pulisic's old team, knocked off PSG 2-1. So there's been some good action in the leg 1 of 2 in the round of 16 Champions League. And then, MLS starts this weekend, and the CONCACAF Champions League has also gotten underway. That's something they're trying to push forward. New NYCFC is the only one of the locals in the mix there. They beat AD San Carlos 1-0 the other day. But MLS does start this weekend, so we'll start paying attention to what's going on with the Revolution. They finished strong last year. Bruce Arena is the new head man. They added some players in the offseason. Red Bulls and NYCFC are usually pretty competitive as well. All right, so he did some of the NBA scores. The big game of the weekend, really, which wasn't in the scores, was the Celtics at Lakers. Tough loss for the Celtics, 114-112. Ouch.
Celtics.
They were sloppy in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They were down in the first quarter. They rallied in the second. It was back and forth in the second. I don't remember if they actually took the lead in the second. They definitely had the lead in the third. They were up by 7 at one point, I think. The refs got involved in the fourth. They did get sloppy as well. Some bad calls for sure. And then in the final minute, some real terrible calls. I don't. When a guy just goes over the back of 2 players on a missed free throw and forces the ball out of bounds, you either have to call over the back or out of bounds on him, especially when you go to the replay and you see it's off his pinky.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Jackson had it. He's like, it's clearly off his hand.
Yeah.
He was doing the call in the game, and that's a huge play. And instead, they give it to the Lakers. They don't call the foul, and the Celtics were winning at that point. And LeBron hits the shot to go put them ahead, and then the Celtics didn't get off the shot to try to win it or tie it. But they played that game without Kemba. Kemba had his knee drained after the All-Star game. So they finished. They went 3-1 on the road trip.
Yeah.
So pretty good. Without Kemba, he should be back pretty soon. They beat the Jazz. They beat the Blazers after losing that game to the Lakers. So they're 41-17, third seed. Now the third seed, you'd say that's pretty good. You take that, except for the top 6 in the East are head and shoulders above the 7 and 8. So you have Miami, you have the Sixers, and the Sixers got their problems.
Yeah.
What's with Embiid? Now he's hurt. They can't win on the road to save their lives. Simmons is hurt. Mike, do you know the Simmons injury? Is that a long-term thing?
You know what? I'm not sure because Simmons usually is pretty healthy, but I'm not really
he's
sure.
He's been out,
injury.
and now Embiid's got the shoulder. He rarely stays healthy anyways. But anyways, and then the Pacers. So the top 6 with the Raptors right in front of the Celtics and the Bucks who are running away with it. Bucks have already clinched a playoff berth. Is that the earliest anybody's ever clinched?
I think
so.
so.
I mean, the Warriors maybe did the other year when they won 73. But the Bucks are outrageous, 50-8.
Mm-hmm. It's up there.
They come at you every night. And the Raptors, who had won 11 in a row, I don't know if that winning streak went higher than that, but they finally lost a game. But they're still sitting right in front of the Celtics. But you want to get to that 2 seed because then you can play either the Nets or the Magic, both who were below 500, and you'll be able to avoid either the Heat, Sixers, or Pacers in the first round. Could be beneficial. In the West, the Lakers look like they're going to get the 1 seed for sure. At this point, there's only 24 games left, something like that. 24 games left. So the Grizzlies are the 8th seed right now. The real story out West will be who gets that last spot. As Portland, the Pelicans, Sacramento, and the Spurs are only 3 out in the loss column behind the Grizzlies. So there's going to be a fight for that last spot, 1 through 7. All those teams are safely in. They'll be jockeying for position seeding-wise. The Lakers should get the number 1. The Bruins, who had been the hottest team in the hockey, winning 9 of 10. Well, I guess Tampa, won 11 in a row, so they were readily as hot. But the Bruins lost 2 straight after that 9 out of 10 stretch. But they remain the top team in the NHL with 90 points. Tampa has lost 3 straight since that 11-game winning streak, sits at 85. There's only 18 games left in the NHL. Bob, what's going on with your Rangers? 8-2-0.
I know.
Last 10.
I know.
Are you starting to think maybe?
No, not
a little playoff run?
No.
They signed Kreider. They didn't trade him.
I know.
Yeah, I had to feel good about that. They're maybe making a commitment to this team.
But it's too early.
72 points.
Yeah.
The Islanders, who are really struggled as of late, 4-5-1, 77 points. They're the number 1 playoff wild card team. I forget who's right behind them, but they have 76 points. So that means your Rangers are only 4 points out, Bob. That's a win and a tie.
Oh, yeah.
3 points and 1 point.
Don't put the cart before the horse.
18 games. They're coming on strong, 8-2-0.
Yeah.
One of those 2 losses came against the Bruins.
Of course.
Sorry, Bob. But so
We got a minute left.
but I do like my Bruins at 90 points, top in the league. They're going to have to. I don't know what happened in that Vancouver game, 9-3, and then they came back home.
I got one little quick thing.
All right, go for it. We got about 30 seconds.
I got to wish my son Connor happy birthday.
Oh,
Monday he's going to be 15.
15.
15.
Save us all.
Another year, he want to be looking about driving.
Oh God. All right. Well, so on Monday.
Monday.
So we'll have to. Does that mean we'll have cake in here again next week?
We'll have cake in here next week.
How many cakes have we had? I'm like 6 cakes deep this year since the holidays.
Yes.
It has never ended. All right. Is that it? We out of time?
Are we out of time?
All right. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Yep.
See you then.
She's that dream of my desire. She's the one fueling the fire. I see her standing there wanting lust with the